So, the big question remains, the money I've just invested in all this new audio recording gear, is it worth it? Do we have better audio? I'd like to think we do, but I don't know yet. We'll find out when we go through this video. Good morning, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are, YouTube. So, there's been some interesting news from the UK government over the last few days concerning the future of fossil fuel cars in the UK. And basically what the British government has said is they want to end all sales of internal combustion vehicles by 2040. And as a result, they want to make sure that all new cars by 2040 are electric only. So we've already had the announcement from Volvo that they are going to end sales of purely diesel vehicles, or purely internal combustion vehicles, as early as 2020, which is not very long at all. So that's an interesting move, but the questions remain, there are a few questions. Is this just a politician's promise? Is it going to happen? Do we have the infrastructure for it? And how is this going to work? Because it's all very well having this brave stance on climate change, and absolutely there is no justifiable reason to pollute excessively, but do we have a way of doing it? And nothing is ever pollution free. That is simply fantasy land. It is just not how the world works. The question remains is, where does the electricity come from? Now, we all know there's no magic electricity tree. That doesn't exist. And we all know also that there's no sense in scrapping perfectly good running vehicles to produce new ones. Other questions around as well, such as, what about the materials of the batteries? Where will battery technology be? I mean, there's no point having these wonderful new electric vehicles if the batteries and manufacturing of the batteries is more polluting than burning fossil fuels. But that's a good question. And also, is it going to change the face of car ownership and bike ownership completely? Because I foresee, when this happens, and people have been pushing this a little bit anyway for a while, the end to private car ownership to some degree. I think in a lot of cases, especially for city people, it's going to make more sense to be in something like a car club, where you only buy the car or use the car when you need it, you don't own the vehicle. And then when you want to go somewhere, you jump on a plane, train, whatever, and you take your, say for example, train down to wherever it is you're going, get off and pick up another car club car, just using the car itself to complete your short journey. That's a good principle, you know, that's workable. But the other question, of course, is what happens to people like taxi drivers? With the best will in the world, you are not going to get a complete day's driving out of a battery-powered car as they are at the moment. So, do you think we're going to see a big leap forward in battery technology? Do you think this is just a pie in the sky to say we're trying something? Or do you think there's a real future in it? Now, thinking about my own personal situation, I probably could replace my vehicles with electric, because the bikes easily could be charged up overnight and they'll give me more than enough range to go to work and back, so an electric bike's feasible. I rarely do more than 100 miles on a bike in one stint, so again electric is definitely feasible there. I often don't drive that fast, so electric cars are feasible there. I do sometimes take long drives, and I do mean long drives, so 1,500 miles or so, down to the other side of the continent to see my parents who live overseas. But that's only a couple of times, or once every other year. Normally I fly down there. So again, flying out and then picking up an electric car at the airport is potentially possible. But when it comes to the mass charging of these vehicles, there is another question. A lot of the houses around this area simply aren't laid out in a way that would enable charging of electric cars. They aren't laid out with access, you just have to park in the road outside. Are we going to have charging points which then if someone parks badly you can't access? Are we going to have public charging points? What happens if you can't find one? You know, what happens if they're all taken? You are not going to be able to just go to the next one. At some point, you're going to run out of electricity, and that's going to be a problem. Or will we have, now over in Spain with the supermarkets, they have these sort of sun barriers, which are large canopies designed to keep your car cool in the summer heat there, because of course it is very, very hot in some of the southern parts. I've personally seen the thermometer on my parents' patio at over 40 centigrade, which is 115 Fahrenheit or thereabouts. So yeah, you've got these canopies that cover all of the public car parks, all of it, so you can always park in the shade. Now these are great because they can just shove solar panels on top of these and create overnight parking areas where you can charge your car. And I think the whole notion of doing a complete charge in one shop, probably not what they've got in mind. I suspect they're going to be looking at a system where you top the batteries up every time you come to a standstill or a stop. And that might work, but it's all hypothetical at this stage. One thing that is for sure, we won't be able to do this using our current electricity network. We don't have the capability, so unless we start building nuclear plants right now, because they take 12-15 years to come online, unless we start building nuclear plants now, we won't have enough electricity to do it. The problem is, a lot of the advocates for electric everything don't seem to understand that wind and solar are all well and good in some parts of the world, but in the UK we just haven't got enough capacity to do it. So we need to look at alternatives. And nuclear, they might not like it, might only be a band-aid situation, but it's the best one we have. So what are your thoughts? Is it pointless political bluster? Is it a pipe dream? Or do you really think we are now witnessing the very end of the internal combustion engine? We certainly seem to be witnessing the end of people using their indicators properly. That was just all sorts of wrong. So there, tell me what you think. Do hit the comment section, let me know. I'm going to get past this moron. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, and see you soon.